You're spotlit. Melissa Sue John and her daughter Olivia Lauren John. And Melissa is a PhD. She's a professor and social psychologist, researcher and author, and the owner of Lauren Simone Publishing House, a publishing company that publishes diverse children's books written and illustrated by youth and adults. And if I can show the picture, this is awkward, but I'm going to share the screen and show you a picture of the book that Olivia Lauren and Melissa Sue John wrote, I think. Did you write both? You both worked on this. Is that true? Yeah. So, and I'm going to stop the share so you guys can talk and tell us more about how you work together, mom and daughter.
So first of all, we started writing because I was complaining about the lack of diverse characters in children's books. There's a problem when children don't see themselves. They don't have the motivation to learn, to build their literacy. They don't have high self-esteem. They don't know that they're worthy and that they matter unless they see themselves in representation through media, whether it's television, books, whatever. So I was complaining to Olivia, and Olivia said,
stop complaining about the problem and do something about it to be the solution.
So literally from engineering, whenever there's a problem, an engineer designs a solution, whether you have to test, retest, and do a model over and over and over. So I was thinking, I'm a scientist, I'm not an author. How do I write a book? So the first book we came up with is Occupations A to Z, and it's not a story or a poem like these talented people on the panel, but rather it's a reference guide where children of all skin tones, ethnicities, national backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds can see themselves represented. And another problem that in the books that do exist, they tend to be stereotypical, right? So the Black kid that can't swim or the Black kid that plays basketball. So we tried to make sure that they were not stereotypical in any way. So we have an Asian kid playing basketball, just totally define stereotypes so every kid believes in themselves.
Excellent. And Olivia, how much did you write on this book? Did you share writing paragraphs back and forth? Or how did it work between mother and daughter? How did that work?
So it depends on what book we're writing. So if we're writing more of a story, then I would help write some of it and she would go over it and we would kind of go back and forth of what the book should look like. But for Occupations A to Z, I would have to give most of the credit for my mother since I was younger and she kind of put like first perspective as a psychologist for the jobs and references.
However, because I teach college students, my children would read the book and says, Mom, kids don't know what that means. So they would always help me to bring it down to a level that was appropriate for children.
I was going to say, I bet that helped a lot having a children be editors, really, yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, home-based editorship there. And Olivia, you've written your own books then, have you?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Mm-hmm. And how much of that is because your mom is a publisher? Or would you write even though your mom wasn't a publisher? And
I probably would write, but I don't think I would be able to publish my books. They would kind of just stay on my computer to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. How does that feel to actually see a book you've written and from like the idea, you've seen it from the idea and to a realization of seeing it in print and handling it? What's that like?
It's kind of like a growth experience because you get to see just like words on a page transform into something physical to hold. And it's been a really fun process because not only am I being able to write and put work into the world, but it's also helping teach kids and kind of help with diversity in literature.
Yeah, this is a really big issue, right? That children grow up with models, right? Of, who they can be, right? Yeah, this is a huge, I applaud you. I'm so thankful that you're doing this and you're bucking the stereotypes, which is great. Yeah. So we're giving people more opportunities and more possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is one occupation in that book that might be a little different for, do you want to choose one occupation that you talk about?
Well, I'm from Jamaica, and when I thought about the occupations that were available to me, I saw police officers, I saw postal workers, I saw bankers, I saw teachers. And I thought about, how do kids choose their occupations? Do they just say, oh, my mom's a nurse, I want to be a nurse too? Or is it through just television? Like, how do they decide? And Olivia was doing acting at the time. We would go to New York and she would audition for voiceover, for television, for movies. And I was just blown away sitting in a room watching one person direct Olivia, another person would drag her voice over the cartoon. And I was like, I never thought I could do that, right? So how do kids know that they can be a voiceover actor or an animator or any of these things without the exposure? So we decided, let's share our experiences like with East Hartford students, because how else would they know?
What a great idea. Wow. So that did you what kind, so you included voiceover actors in the book?
Absolutely, right. So the subtitle is A Children's Guide to Jobs and Careers. And the take really is that it's about traditional and non-traditional careers, because everyone knows doctors, lawyers, nursing, but no one really thinks, like,
Yeah.
and
Graphic
I
artist.
think there's such a negative connotation with being an actor too. You always think of the starving artist. So a lot of people don't want to risk those careers, so they choose a safer careers. But if we can show that it's possible, then I think more people strive to their actual dreams,
Right.
as
So you,
opposed to just a safe haven.
yeah, that it's a possible, you can blaze your own trail of a profession. You don't
Yeah.
need to follow in the steps of a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. You can kind of find your own way. That really speaks to me. That's a great thing to let people know. And I have to return to the theme of change. Here we are. That's where we're at. Things are changing. And I think we all have to be ready to change, right? To be able to step up and do a new profession if we have to, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people are in that spot. Is there anything else? Do other people have questions for um, James or Dixon? Do you have a question for Melissa Sue and Olivia Lauren? No? Oh, yeah, James? You have to let you have to unmute yourself, I think.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah.
I have a question for you both.
Go ahead.
How are you guys feeling knowing that you're superstars?
We're very humbled by the experience.
That
I
was good.
am.
That was good. No, but for real, because remember, you had a dream, you asked a question, you took action. Now, having taken that or those action steps, you have to realize that you have become the embodiment of what you wanted to see. So you're asking people to look to you, to look at you as you produce. So you're a star. That's pretty much what it is, because we're not speaking about the negative connotation. Oh, look at me, I'm a diva. No, literally, you're a role model because you had a dream. You wanted to see something, so you went and you did it. Now, how does that feel? Because many people have ideas and wow, they sit on them for a very long time or never ever pursue them. But you say you feel humbled by the experience. So we're going to rock and roll with that.
Mm.
No,
Peace.
it truly is a great experience, because not only did I do it for my family, I did it for my community, but it's going to stick around for years, right? 50 years after I die, the copyright still exists. So it's truly an amazing experience.
It's a legacy in some.
Legacy, the word.